I don't like this at all. The internet is littered with ridiculous tool modification videos that I have been intrigued about for years. Thousands of you guys have tagged me in them or sent them to me, and today we've compiled a list of a ton of them that we're gonna try out. First up, this video blew up last year with 26 million views, and it's an angle grinder modification using cardboard to create a buffer that, I'm not gonna lie, I felt was super clickbaity. But I'm gonna try it out because I've seen a lot of other people trying this and it actually worked, and I'm intrigued, as I know you are. So let's get to it. So to do this, we're gonna need a couple things. We're gonna need cardboard, which obviously we had to grab a box the size of me, and it looks like some CA glue. And then lastly, we need an angle grinder that's gonna have this little nut here. This is a toolless option. So first, I'm gonna cut a bunch of circles out based on our video. So essentially this dude's making a buffing disc. What you can find in a lot of instances is like cardboard or something that's like, it's just mildly abrasive, can be really good option for buffing things. I'm not like quite positive on when and where, but yeah. You see it used a little bit more often than you'd think. Bear with me, give me a few minutes, let me cut all these out, and then we'll get to assembly and testing. Got 6 discs here. I want to get a nice adhesion here. I do believe in this sucker.
I believe in you.
So we're gonna hit this with some CA glue, but I gotta make sure that these are nice and activated. So we're gonna give this a little bit more time than I normally would to dry. And while it dries, we're gonna get on to the next test. Up next, we've got a 3-parter here with circular saw modification. How many of these suckers are we testing?
All 3.
We're doing all 3. All right, so starting out, oh boy. This dude makes a wooden chop saw out of a circular saw. And I do believe Sam has already prepped this, so I can't wait to see it. Sam!
Yeah, this is a pretty fine chop saw. It's custom made, homemade. Might replace the old Makita, I don't know.
So what I'm wondering is, in what world would this be better than a miter saw? Looks as if you put considerably more time and effort than should have ever been put into it, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Samuel has prepared this phenomenal contraption here. Not only did he equip this with a spring, and I'm not gonna lie, Joe, just watch your face. You got your shot screws on? Yep, likes to do that. The spring also already came off. So you get one and done on that. So already out the gate. It's not Sam's fault, science's fault.
It's science.
Okay, so we got that for 1. And 2, if you're curious on how this thing works, you've got a hinge attached to your circular saw here. For safety's sake, guys, I do have this thing unplugged. We've got one of our, Sam calls it his throwaway saw, he uses it for cutting all kinds of junk. And then here we have essentially your bevel gauge. The video has 2 specific angles. It's got 90 and 45. So you can unscrew this, loosen that, and supposedly give yourself 2 different options to cut here. So I'm gonna grab some scrap wood. Actually, well, let's fire it up first without any wood. Here we go. I hate this. I hate everything about this. Okay, so does what it's supposed to. Let's cut some stuff. So there's no micro adjustment on this. Sam, I think calibrated it off of his initial cut. Seems to be a little bit different, but we're gonna go with it. I've got a piece of scrap here that we're just gonna go ahead and send it on. Ready? What we're looking for is a square edge, which that is not the case. Try again. Yeah, so that is off. How about looking at it through one of our brand new unscrewed shirts? So you get a nice contrast there? Yep. Because it's not square at all. So I think what happened was he squared it to his original cut when he put together everything with this nice, incredibly expensive stainless steel ball bearing hinge. And there's just a little bit of play in the saw. All hinges like this are gonna have play. So as far as accuracy goes, not surprised. You can literally even see that? Hinges are intended to have play, so yeah. For precision cuts, I don't know. You're probably better off just holding your shit on your knee. If you set this up once, you may be able to get it a little bit more precise, but we took it apart because we're gonna be using the circular saw on not 1, not 2,
But wait, there's more.
but 3 really dumb jigs. Okay, here we go. So it's considerably closer. For those of you who are watching at home, first off, thank you for your subscription. Thanks. Because I know you just subscribed. And if not, I don't know. Maybe do it a little bit later. So this is a framing square and this is a circular saw. You could take the framing square and put it on your square edge of your material, use it as a guide, and get a square cut without having to build that stupid thing. You can also do the same thing on an angle. With small materials like this, it's a little bit more tricky, but this is how framers have been cutting angles for millennia, and you don't need any of that stupid bullshit on this janky ass jig here. So this one, thumbs down. Can't say that there would be any circumstance or situation where this would be better than just a circular saw in your hand, or even the cheapest chop saw that you could find in the trash. And so this video has 2 more circular saw jigs. Let's hop into the next one. And so for our next test, in the same video, my man, Pots and Pans, built the similar contraption just for like longer cuts. The way this is supposed to work is you have your material here, and if you want to make a longer cut, you've got your 90-degree fence, you bring it in, slide this along, and it will cut. It's honestly like a pretty good little jig if you're trying to get straight cuts on long boards, but I don't hate it as much as the first one. I do hate that they put like feet on it. I understand why. Let's get this blade locked in here because that is going to be important for depth of cut. So these are like aluminum here. They have a lot of play in them. I think it's the same thing they use in the video because they drill right through it without metal tools. They're nice and straight, but the issue is you can see that kind of flex. There's an issue first and foremost. A track saw or a track for something like this. This is basically the same thing, just a little bit more janky. So being right-handed, I'm gonna cut it like this. Now I have to actually plug it in.
Now that's a bright idea.
And then drop it down so it can plunge into the wood without like scooting. So now, essentially, we go like this. One thing I don't like is like a small cutoff like this, it just gets stuck underneath, so you can't pull it back or it's gonna hit and like shoot at you. But from the looks of it, pretty decent little cut. It is pretty square. I don't absolutely hate this one compared to the other one. The other one was quite stupid.
You can't fix stupid.
But you can still do the same thing on a piece like this. Now let's get something a little wider. This would be a situation where that like framing square jig that I was showing you guys earlier wouldn't be great. Got a wider board here. I'm gonna plunge this down. You ready, Joe?
I'm ready.
Let it turn down and then get your little piece out, and there you go. This one also has the adjustment to go for the 45-degree cut. That's pretty good. It's a really good 90-degree cut there. I don't hate this. I think with a little bit higher quality of a saw, something that's maybe not covered in concrete because you plunged a hole in the floor with it would work a little bit nicer. I do think the aluminum could give a little bit of deflection here, but when you're cutting stuff this thin, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna give this jig like right here, right? So we're going like gladiator style. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna let you guys decide. Would you use something like this? Leave a comment down below. For me, it's fine, it's not great, a little bit sketch, but for the most part, it'll do what you need. Before we get to the last circular saw test, let's go check out our cardboard test. All right, so we're dry, and according to our video, what we need to do next is put this in a vise and then drill a hole through it to find center. Completely wrong drill bit for this, but I needed a 5/8, and that's all I got. And I like how in the video, our guy acts as if it's like the most fragile thing on the planet. Damn it, Joe, I don't know how I'm gonna get this on. She's too thick. Maybe we gotta squish it down. Give her a little compression here. When I designed my one-of-a-kind, beautiful, handmade bench vise, this is exactly what I had in mind for it. All right, so now that we're on, I'm gonna lock this down the best I can. Our dude, in the sketchiest way possible, squared this up. I'm gonna use a different tool for that. Just squaring up the edge there, Joe. Look at that. Perfect circle. Oh, you got a little dust in your nose there, Joe. No? What about your eyes?
Not my eyes.
Looks like you got 0 dust in your eyes, just like me. Wonder why? I don't wonder. I know. I mean, that looks pretty legit. Like, let's be honest here. I'm kind of proud of it. So I've got my cardboard disc now. So he goes ahead and polishes some random stuff. He gets a polishing compound out, gets it on there. There you go, nice and oh, and then he polishes the bottom of an iron, obviously. I think we have one, actually.
We do.
It's pretty stupid. Let's spit shine an iron. Here's my iron. It's not as absurd as theirs. A little bit of polishing compound here, so I'm gonna do the same thing. Now let's see if this does anything on the bottom of our iron first. I feel like, 1, it smells. 2, I need considerably more compound. Like, how much compound do I need here, guy? This is not for this. Like, this is buffing compound for sure, but it's not automotive. I don't have a hard stick of automotive. So I think the fact that my iron is non-stick is not working for us. So I'm gonna grab a piece of normal metal and we're gonna try that. So I think we're being mildly duped here. I think it's the compound that matters more than the whatever the hell else is going on. So I'm gonna make a mess. We were ill prepared, so we don't have any like that hard block compound for metal. So I'm gonna rub in some of our wet buffing compound. See if this works. We've got some cold rolled steel here for you peoples. And the comments are gonna be like, probably telling me exactly what I'm doing wrong. And that's fine, I'm gonna read them and I'm gonna smile. And the best one, I'm gonna give a t-shirt to. Maybe this t-shirt, who knows? All right, Joe. Excellent, here we go. It's not taking any mill scale off, which was expected. It's like burnishing the surface of it. I'm not gonna lie, I think after those two tests, it's gotta be the compound, and like, I don't have it, so I can't do a proper test. But I'm gonna give it a thumbs down because I think it's bullshit.
Bullshit!
I don't actually think it works. I think whatever you're using, you could put anything on there that is like semi-firm with that compound, it'll buff the surface. You can do it by hand, in honesty. Up next, we've got a PVC, I don't know, end cap, angle grinder. This looks like pure clickbait.
Can you stop eating?
No, I can't stop eating, Joe. It's a jalapeno chomps. Why would I ever want to stop eating this? What do you mean?
Is that the only flavor they have?
No, of course not. They've got original and a bunch of other flavors. And I'm not gonna lie, this one is tasty. Look, in all honesty, if you're working in a shop or you're on the go at all, chomps, you can't beat them. They've got high quality ingredients, a bunch of different flavors like I mentioned. They come in a few varieties of sizes. They pack 10 to 12 grams of protein per stick. I'm a huge fan of just tossing these in my work bag when I'm headed in for the day, or grabbing one when I'm in the shop and we're in the middle of the shoot just like this. If you have tried chomps, let me know which flavor is your favorite, and if you haven't, check them out. They're selling them all over the place, and they're delicious. Check them out, I got a link for you down below. Appreciate you sponsoring this one. Now let's try out this very dumb tool modification. Let's watch this damn clickbait. Starting off strong here. There's spikes in the thumbnail. High likelihood here, Joe, that I don't think there's gonna be any spikes in this thing.
That's a bummer.
Looks like they are making a dust shoe. This is good. They're using a piece of red plastic pipe, cutting some holes. Cool. So the concept of this is awesome, especially if you're doing like any concrete work. Here in America, and I think in Europe as well, there's massive regulations on concrete dust. So this is smart. And Joe and Sam took the liberty of building this beautiful concoction here. And if you want to come and zoom in here, Joe, this is some of the highest quality work we've had ever created in this workshop.
What is that?
Created by Joe, actually. The quality of the craftsmanship is impeccable. We have not one, not two, but 300 screws put in here. We had to buy a tire and then cut the tire because we don't have just bicycle tires laying around. Joe went ahead and super glued a hose nozzle here. But like all in all, I gotta be honest, looking pretty damn good. Now, I am going to look up the price of just a generic Amazon dust shoe.
Do they make them for angle grinders?
100%. We have two that came with this tool.
So why wouldn't you just buy one?
That's exactly my point. Why wouldn't we just buy one,
That
Joe?
took me probably like too long to make.
Yeah, it took you at least 20 minutes.
45 minutes.
45 minutes. Damn, dude.
You try to cut bicycle tire.
Coming in hot at 27 doll hairs with a adjustable neck, open end. Yeah, 27 doll hairs.
That's so much.
What did our bike tire cost?
14?
We'd buy a $14 bike tire just to do.
I'm assuming you're supposed to make this with stuff you just have it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's an integral part of the video here. I mean, you're not wrong. How the hell else are we gonna get that done? We don't do any concrete stuff. So what we do have though is, this is just a sanding disc that we use on metal and wood. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug it in. We're gonna see what it looks like with it on. We're gonna see what it looks like with it off, and see if it collects any better. Behind the camera, we have a very not optimistic Joe. Even though you made it, it looks awesome.
Sketchy as hell. The glue's coming off and shit. I don't know how it's gonna fare.
Give yourself some credit, my boy. One of the things I will say is the adjustability is phenomenal. Here we go. Whew, that's not good.
Oh, it shakes it.
Oh, yeah.
He just put it over top just like that. I did it just like him.
Wow. So I gotta like hold this. Gotta be honest, how much more shallow do you need to go? Like, you're protruding out just enough. I guess on the, if you're like grinding on something, the dust has nothing to do with the issue I'm having. I can't get it on the surface is the issue. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying, what's going on?
But like, you can't make that any more shallow and give yourself a shoulder to attach it to.
He also didn't give measurements.
Obviously. Okay, as sketch and as dangerous as that is, it's just warping the hole bigger and bigger on the top.
Is it?
Yeah, but you can see how much dust is kind of around. It's like hard to see. It's all over my shirt. It's in the air. Let's hook a hose up to it. Come here. That's exactly where I wanted that. Okay, here's the real truth, Joe. Oh, I'd say way less dust, no? Nah. Haters are gonna blame the hose.
We don't love them hoes.
Not enough suction. Concerning part about all this is that our guy just kind of threw it on top of an angle grinder without any clamps or clasps or anything. Look at this. Just spinning opened that hole up twice the size, and that'll just gonna continue to burn. That's what all of this plastic is. So with that being said, gotta give this one a thumbs down. Just go spend the 25 bucks or whatever on Amazon, grab yourself one if you need it for this, or use the right tool for the job. I feel like that one could get pretty dangerous depending on what you're doing. But the last DIY that we have for an angle grinder is even more ridiculous than this, so you're gonna wanna stick around for that. Before that though, let's finish up with those circular saw jigs. All right, so for our last one here, we've essentially just got this dude building what's an adjustable track for your circular saw. Now this is something I can get behind because they do come in handy. There's a lot of these out there that brands make, so I think it's pretty cool to see them making one. The virality of it, pretty rad. Sam politely went ahead and prepared this one as well. I'm gonna build the last one because it's the sketchiest and requires welding, which no one else here can do. So it should be fun, but we gotta do this first. Here we got some holes. Now we just need to fasten down our saw. One of the things they don't really show in those videos all the time is that you have to drill holes in your saw plates. So if you wanna make stuff like this, that's a part of it. This is essentially gonna just be a track for us on the edge to create repeatable cuts is the goal. I'll get it together, we'll tune back in for stupidity and absurdity. And he has the wrong size wrench. Awesome. The intention here, and this is what's tough for me on this guy, is like if you wanna go, let's say, we got a wing nut on there, you wanna make a 2-inch cut. You're gonna come from the blade, you gotta come and find the kerf and then both sides. Set up here, might take you a little bit longer. And so if your board's square, this bottom piece is square, you can use the square here once you get there. The kicker is the sloppiness or non-sloppiness of it where it's held in. The intention of this is if you want to, say, rip something, not plugged in for safety, guys, I can take this and create a repeatable rip down the side. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of a wider piece here, show you guys what that looks like. Something of note here is you gotta keep the blade guard up, which I don't love. You gotta, so you got your piece, your rail, your edge. It's not a bad concept. It's not a great one. You can see you get a little bit of binding here because of just the nature of that like saw blade being stuck out there and things pinching and whatnot. But you know, if you're looking to cut some strips or get repeatable cuts, you've got some thicker material, I would probably suggest doing it on that. This one I will give a thumbs up to because it can come in handy. You just gotta make sure you're safe. For instance, you gotta wait for this to turn down before setting it down because it's not gonna drop it. On a normal saw, if I cut something, that one has a break, but that's gonna snap down. I can put it right down. So that's something to keep in mind. I will give this one a thumbs up. Now, let's get on to the most ridiculous angle grinder modification that we could find for this video. So this thing also has a ton of views. We're gonna head on over to the metal shop because I gotta do a little bit of welding. We've got angle iron, we've got nuts, we've got spot welds, we've got moving parts. We're making a chop saw for an angle grinder, so let's get after it. So from the looks of this, I'm gonna have to start out welding this piece of rebar to one of these. This dude's stick welding it too. I love that. Now I'm gonna drill a hole and cut it off. What the f? Weld that to the end. Then cut that off too. Then weld the nuts on.
Wait, what are we doing?
Then cut those off. Fiber wheel, that goes on. All right, here comes a sequence of random tack welds that hopefully look something like this now that my belly's full. Let's go. I think I made the same thing, a couple different modifications here. One, I didn't like that the way they were doing it cut off the edge here. It just left the material unsupported. Not a huge fan of that. So I moved mine over a bit, which is gonna give me a slot. That should allow me to kind of like micro adjust this to 90 degrees because I know exactly where my blade's gonna come down. Now I will say, super sketch that this is a fiber wheel and like as thin as it is, and you're gonna be cutting like into anything with it. I think the last part for me is that like the way that the angle grinder is built is I have to hold the material on my right hand and come down on my left and like stand pretty much right over top of it, which I would prefer to be standing to the side, but I can't see where the cut's coming down on unless I stand over here, but then I can't hold it very well. So a little bit sketchy there. I am gonna give it a shot because that's what we do. So I'm just gonna like kind of like plunge a line here first. The last thing I'll say too is we only have big fiber wheels. So that is not gonna be square at all. These are just, it's just not that precise. I think if I go there, here we go, turn it back on. I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. Okay, little piece of metal here. Now, like I said, I gotta do this from this way because of the way it's built. So here we go. As per their video, you can see here, we are not square at all. Now, I don't give a shit about anything except the tide.
Oh God.
No, this is way too sketchy for me to like F with it. I see a lot of stuff like this on the internet. It is fun to test. This is kind of smart. I don't like that it uses a fiber wheel because you see how much play is in these wheels. Once they get into the metal, they kind of go wherever they want. So you're never gonna get a super clean, precise cut. So with that being said, send me every single video you guys want to see me try that you think is more dangerous than this, and maybe I'll give it a shot. See you on the next one.